The goal for this podcast is to better our understanding through conversation. Communication is one of the easiest, yet hardest things to do. Whether that's communication of feelings, thoughts, or opinions. But through communication, new perspectives begin to take place. Throughout the various topics and opinions discussed on this podcast, we hope that we can add value, understanding, and a few laughs to your day. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the show. Welcome to the Real Talk Podcast. Back again, man. Another episode, bro. Yes, episode 52.
Oh, really?
50, man. So we moving up. We moving up. You know what I'm saying? We're getting done. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. Episode 50, bro. We're just gonna flow with it, man. Just open conversation. You know what I'm saying? No specific topic. Something that's been on my mind, bro, was like two things, right? First thing earlier this week was you have to do more with less. And when I heard that, it's like you have to do more with less. So meaning like if you got limited resources and things like that, like you have to do more with that. And then I was thinking like, is that really what it means? And God was like, do more with less, meaning quality. You know what I'm saying? The quality of your
quality over quantity.
Exactly, right?
Gotcha.
And I was like, you know what I mean? And then when you think about it, you know what I'm saying? Whether it be cars, like a car, like I'm thinking about a Rolls Royce, right? It's 300,000, 400,000. It's one car, and it's more when you're talking about money. But that one car, you paying for the quality. So it's probably the only car you'll probably ever need, to be honest. Mm-hmm. It's got everything you need in it. It's gonna last, things of that nature. So I was like, you know what I'm saying? More or less. And I just was like, what other areas is it? Whether it be, you know, living wise, more or less, like the money you have, it ain't necessarily that you need more money, but what are you spending your money on? Is it quality items? Is it things that's gonna tap back into you? You know what I mean? You think about food, or you buying just low nutrients foods, or you buying foods that may seem less and may cost a little bit more on the front end, but they provide you with a lot longer lasting energy, sustainable, right?
Okay.
Second thing was you don't do anything by yourself. And it was like anything that I was thinking about, like clothes. I don't make my own clothes. I don't grow my own food. I don't even make my money by myself. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else pays me. You know what I mean? And it's like when that mentality of like, man, I got to get it on my own, or I'm out here by myself. It's not a true statement. Or I've been told myself that so many times, you begin to believe it, or you operate in that space, and then you realize like you got way more opportunities around you, right? Like today, we went out in the community after church, and we were just going door to door, knocking, explaining what we do. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we St. Luke, we doing this, we doing that, and I think it was like, hey, with St. Luke, we're just going to the community to figure out what needs can the church maybe help you guys with in the household or in the community that you see that maybe the church can help out with, right? Mm-hmm. And it surprised me, man, because they was way more receptive in the area that we was in than I thought they would be. You know what I mean? I just thought like going up is gonna be the church, and people they're gonna be like thinking we real pushy and we trying to force the Lord down their force the Bible down their throats, things of that nature. But our approach was, let me ask you your opinion. We ain't here to offer you nothing or anything. We're just trying to see here. We're trying to go here to serve. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We're trying to go here to gain an understanding.
Got you. So it was the presentation.
It was the presentation, man. And it was so dope, man, because a lot of people, they actually came out their doors. First, they had the doors closed, speaking us through the screen, or they hide them behind the door. But then they came out. They opened up the door wider. You know what I'm saying?
Question for you. Why you think they had the doors cracked at first?
Because they like, they trying to see what we about. Like, man, it's a group of us. Yeah, they were guarded, bro. You had that guard up. You know what I'm saying? And
so how do you break a guard?
I think go ahead.
Excuse me, my bad. Didn't mean to say that. Like, how do you break a guard or break barriers?
I think with like authenticity in your approach, you know what I mean? Because people could read energy. So it's like if you coming in with you just feel when somebody fake or trying to put on. But we came with authenticity. You know, people was from that neighborhood. They knew people. They're like, oh, you so and so, or oh, you know so and so. And it's like it was dope. It made a real
chain links.
You know what I'm saying? And it was real cool, man. And the reason I brought that up was because you don't do anything by yourself, right? Our churches in that neighborhood, even that. You know what I mean? A lot of people in those areas, you feel like that a lot of people in those areas, you look at it and you like, man, nobody want to make it out. Like, look how I look. But it's like, it's a lot of people that really want positivity. They want to be better. They want to do more. And all they looking for is a positive outlet. And it was dope because they was really surprised that the church was out there. They was like, man, we glad you guys out here, man. It's dope what y'all doing, man. We appreciate your guys coming out and doing that. And I think a lot of times that universal language of positivity has got to be directed. It's got to be full positivity, not half-heartedly, not on the fence. You know what I'm saying?
What you saying too, to piggyback off what you saying, I think it's a universal language of connection.
Yeah.
You know, figuring out how, okay, even though we can come from two different worlds, it's like, what's the connecting point?
100%.
Like, you know, so by you asking, you know, another person that may be from another walk of life, you know, what, you know, in your honest opinion, what do you think that, you know, what could we help out with, you know, or, you know, what do you see the problem to truly be? You know, it's the, you know, it's the act of communicating that creates that connection. You know, now it's funny you said that. If I may,
go ahead.
So today, I had to go to work today, and I had a different situation.
I'm ready to hear it.
Yeah, than what you are talking about. So today it was a gentleman, and he was on the opposite end of the spectrum as far as churches go. He was like, you know, nah, the church, all they trying to do is just take your money, this, that, and the other. You know, that's from where, you know, the perspective that he was coming from. Yeah, you know, it's not really about no, you know, inclusion. It's really about, you know, it's really about the money, you know. So it's like, you know, and my thing is, like, really and truly, like, if you even if you want to go from that perspective or go from that angle, let's be honest, like, anything in life, it does take money. It's going to take some type of money, you know. Now granted, I have been known by, you know, some of my closest in the family to say, hey, well, one thing about you, boy, you're tight. Now you're tight with you. You know, and I've also been taught, if it ain't tight, it ain't right, you know. So which one is it? But my thing is this here. I'm all about what makes sense. And oftentimes what makes sense is this here, what you are willing to invest in, you know. 100%. So that's the thing. If it's something that I'm willing to invest in, or I see the importance of something, I don't mind, you know. The thing about it, when you talking about whatever building, it takes finances. It does. You know, it's an investment. That's why people from different walks of life look at things totally different. That's why you see certain things happening in the sense of a progressive state for some, and then you see certain people where, you know, you mess around and you could turn two corners become 2 years. You come back around and that person's still doing the same thing, or in a worse situation. And then, you know, you turn those two corners, man, and then you look at another individual and they've expanded leaps and bounds. But you stop and you ask, okay, what's the difference that happened within two corners? You know, two corners being 2 years. What happened? And somebody made an investment. Somebody said, I don't see the importance. I'm going to just stay right here. And what I'm doing is good enough. It's not like that all the time, you know. And honestly, in no cases is it like that. You're going to have to take, and you have to invest. You do. Whether that be investing in self or investing in something that you really. I was talking to somebody else about this the other day, man. And correct me if I'm wrong, man. Sometimes in life, it's like to be a visionary is oftentimes, you know, having the faith to just believe that something's gonna make an impact, and actually getting behind that thing at the right point in time and say, I'm gonna invest right here, right now. You know, you call me crazy, but something in me just telling me this is the right time to do this. So I'm gonna catch it where it's like, you know, it could be 50 cents. They catch it at that point in time, then all of a sudden 5 years later, 100%. That thing that took off. You know, that's stocks. That's, you know, that could be crypto, that could be whatever. It's just catching it at the right time. It's faith, you know. But you were talking about the church. I got to thinking about what the gentleman said today, and it's like 2 points, two different ends of the spectrum. It's like, so when you say guarded, it's like, again, like, you know, the initial conversation is a cracked door, speaking to you from a cracked door. Or that crack, you know, the crack went, hey, can I help you? You know, and you simply like, ma'am, I see you. I come in peace.
For real though.
But
bro, I think it's funny because I heard somebody say earlier, I was listening to like something on YouTube, and I think it was TD Jakes. He was saying how like you got to get out of your world and tap into the world. Meaning like sometimes what you see in your own, what you build in your own little mind, you'll think is the actual world. And it's like, bro, the world is way bigger. And it's like, that's just what you thinking, that's what you making up in your head. And it only means something to you. But it's like when you step outside of yourself and realize like, oh man, maybe I was off a little bit, or maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And it's funny you say that, because the same sense it applies to religion. It also applies to the race relations. It applies to pretty much everything. Because if you only seeing things through a tunnel vision, then you only focused on what's important to you.
Yep.
So you're gonna automatically miss the ball on a situation or issue that's affecting your fellow brother or your sister. They may not look exactly like you.
Yeah.
That's when you miss it. You miss the mark. And that's when changes that's when they don't come into fruition, because you too blind. You got your blinders up and you like, man, nah, that ain't going on, man. You know what I'm saying? I just passed by that block the other day. But did you really take and look at the block though? Like, did you put your patrol up? Did you drive through the block?
Yep.
No, I rode past it. I ride past it every day, but you're not really looking at it.
100%. I want to say something on that. It's like, same thing what you said with the guard. Like we put these guards up, and sometimes in those areas, you do have those types of things to where it's like you said, you had a person that progresses, and then you had a person that ends up in the same spot, same amount of time, but they had two different outcomes. And I think we become so guarded sometimes that we forget that we could reach out.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And like you said, investing in relationships, investing in getting to know people in your community. And it sounds cliche, but it's like, like our church, like that church been there for years, man. And it's like people don't understand our maybe because they don't reach out, or maybe it was on our end where we haven't reached out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But it's like once you connect those two, then you realize, oh, this is another lane. This is another opportunity for me to tap into. You know what I'm saying? That can help me out. And also, it's like I was running, and I realized that when I look down at every step I'm making, I notice every pothole, every imperfection in the pavement, and I started to stumble and mess up. And then when I looked straight ahead and just focused on my path and the destination I wanted to go, my foot adjusted to the potholes. Like my foot automatic, and it's like that's a analogy for life, because it's like, if you focus on every little issue, every little step, every little thing that's going on, it's like you begin to make, you know what I'm saying? You almost too hypersensitive. But if you focus on if you focus on the goal, on the end goal, and you take action and you just move forward, then you begin to adjust to the different nuances that happen.
Adapt.
You adapt to the obstacles that pop up.
You're right.
And you realize, and you continue to move. You know what I mean? And I just thought that was so dope, man. The way God spoke to me on that, because it's so true, man. And I just had to tap into that. And I'm a little nervous about talking about this, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm gonna say it, you know what I mean? But like issues that we struggle with, you know what I'm saying? Us as men, us as people in general, we scared to speak on them, right? Mm-hmm. And we talk about tapping into the resources around us, and it's like we so guarded because we worried about being judged, we worried about not being accepted, things of that nature, looked at being weird. But it's like for me, like masturbation, you know what I'm saying? Me and you had this conversation, and I had a dream about like a zombie apocalypse type deal. So long story short, I was hiding, and I was hiding in like pine straw, and it was let me see if I can find it, bro, because I broke it down. I'm gonna make it quick. So I was hiding in pine straw, right? And I had a couple of friends or people I recognized around me, and it symbolized that, friends around me are hiding too. You know what I mean? Again, we don't speak on stuff. So we can't hide our insecurities, and we don't realize how many people are suffering with the same issue. Mm-hmm. So like, I was scared to tell my wife about that. You know what I'm saying? I was insecure about it, like scared to be rejected. And I didn't realize that my wife can help me, but she can't help me if I don't communicate. Can't nobody help you if you don't communicate what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's like I looked at it as a weakness, but that's a natural urge. That's a natural feeling that we always get. That we get. You know what I'm saying? Sex is a natural part of the human progression. What's not natural is not communicating those things. You know what I'm saying? Not getting help. And then you begin to direct that energy into other things, where that may lead to other women, maybe lead to stepping out of relationships, maybe leading to a lot of other things. And it makes you feel more guilty because you have to hide it. And that may stem from a lot of different things, you know what I'm saying? Whether your upbringing when you was younger, maybe you got picked on, maybe you told things and you got rejected. So it made you apprehensive. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like a dog. If you ever notice stray dogs, they scared to walk up to humans, or some of them are. It's because when they did have interactions with them, it was negative.
Good. Yeah.
So it's like, I never felt, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be. So anyway, I ended up going to this fortress, but it wasn't a good fortress. It was like a brick foundation and fence around it, like chain link fence. So that means that however I cope with those insecurities, they're not stable. You know what I mean? They're bad ways to handle those habits or those vices. So it's like it was on the edge of a beach. The fortress was like literally on the edge of a beach, so, which meant that there's nowhere else to go. That's what I was thinking. Like, okay, this fortress is here, and that's what I broke down. Is this fortress is here? It's not very good fortress, and then it's at the ocean. You know what I mean? There's nowhere to run, right? Mm-hmm. So we set up camp. We had some lights, things of that nature, but the lights will flicker. So. That symbolized that my problems or the way I'm thinking are poor solutions. Again, I already stated that. So as night came, the zombies would transition, or they would go into this little trance to where as it got dark, it's kind of like they start throwing a beach party. The altitude was fun. It was like a beach. It was music. And then they didn't even notice we was there after a period of time. So we kind of let our guard down. But I knew in a dream, like if I fell asleep too long, then when it got sunlight again, the zombies, you know what I'm saying, I could be taken advantage of. So that symbolized that like at night or in the dark, I begin to relax and I want to have fun. I want to express myself. I want to relax. And those relaxing ways may put me in dangerous positions the next morning. You know what I'm saying? And which hinders your growth. You know what I'm saying? That hinders the way I want to grow, the direction I want to go in. So then there was people there with us, like people that congregated at the little fortress area. And that may be symbolizing my different personalities. And one was smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? Like he was in the bathroom smoking. And I think that symbolized that the way I cope with certain things may seem good in the moment, but that ineffective in the long run.
Question for you. You said that individual he was where smoking weed?
He was like in the bathroom. Like it was like daytime. We was like talking, trying to gather supplies. Some was chilling. Some was gathering supplies. Some were, you know what I'm saying, eating. And that individual was like in the bathroom, just like chilling, I guess trying to like relax.
So question, why you think he was in the bathroom?
Because it's an enclosed space. It's a like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Which is crazy, right? So I'm getting towards the end. I'm wrapping it up. So we end up getting in an argument because the weed he was smoking was laced with like some poison or something like that. It was like something, it was you could tell in the jar, like, yo, did you even look at this? And so me and him got in an argument like, yo, bro, you could have blah, blah, blah. So I went and talked to this other guy as I'm walking off. And he was by himself, like just chilling by some cars or something, just chilling, which represented a loner. And it's crazy because him being alone, I resonated with that because as a loner, you know what I'm saying, the lone wolf, you try to deal with these things alone by yourself. And it's dysfunctional, you know what I'm saying? So I said a lot, but I felt like breaking down that dream, it opened up my eyes to a lot of things because it's like a couple of different things, you know what I'm saying? Being alone, trying to deal with them alone, the different insecurities, the way we try to handle those insecurities because we don't talk to nobody about them. But when I opened up and told my wife about them, it's like she, like I said, she can't help me if she doesn't know. And a lot of those insecurities really don't matter. You know what I'm saying? As you begin to share with certain people because we try to maybe mask them with different things, mask them with going to the gym, mask them with making a lot of money, mask them with, you know what I'm saying, the way we dress and fashion or the way we talk or this persona we put on. But it's like at the end of the day, when you break it down to its simplest form and you talk to other people, you realize the relatability, the relationships, and the relational aspect of that. And it's like, okay, cool. Now I can let my guard down because somebody else understands me. They value my opinion. They accept me for who I am. And now I can begin to accept who I am and who I am at this present time so that I can move forward instead of denying that person that I am. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying.
So like, I know that was like super heavy or like super deep, but does that make sense, or was it a bunch of rambling?
To tell you the truth, man, the dream, I'm more so intrigued by the dream, and like, cause it's like, even though you were breaking it down, like you were going kind of quick with it to the point to where it's like, I have a couple questions about the dream.
Yeah, what's up?
In order to get to the question, it's almost like you would have to start. Because like the one question that I did ask, that I did catch on the quick, was you talked about the loner, which the loner, you know, what a loner tends to do, it's a reason why the loner is alone anyways. Because obviously they've, through past experiences, they've allowed somebody to get into their space, and then all of a sudden, because of them allowing somebody to get into their space, they were hurt. Yeah. So in their mind, you know what? I it's best that I just deal with it on my own. Or they allow somebody to play hero to them, and then they allow the wrong person to play hero. When, to be honest with you, you know, your one true hero is above anyways. You know, and it's like, you know, oftentimes in life, man, being a loner, the reason why we choose this path is because we feel like it's the easiest path to take that won't amount to the most hurt. Yeah. You know, and what happens is oftentimes is deep within yourself, you actually hurting yourself. It's like it's a cancer, because whatever the true issue is, it's still lingering within, and it grows bigger because, you know, you haven't had a chance to release it, so it's just eating on you. And then before you know it, you know, like your core becomes rotten. You know, if you're not careful, that's what a cancer does. It eats you from within, and then it affects the outward. So that part, I definitely got that. And then you were talking about the individual that was in the bathroom smoking weed. You know, for me, just the first thing off the top of my head is this here. You know, a lot of people smoke weed, drink, or do, you know, have sex with whatever, you know, amount of people. It's for a reason. It's for a momentary escape, you know, and he was in the bathroom. Yep. So that was his escape. He wanted to live in his world. And so even if you got in an argument with him at that point in time in your dream, you know, honestly, you probably was arguing with a fool anyways, because at that point in time, he wasn't going to listen to you, because that's where he chose to be at anyways. That's how he chose to live his life. You know, a lot of times people tend to already know, you know, the outcome of certain things, or they know in their mind what's right, what's wrong, but they make up their decision based on the present tense. Yeah. You know what, man, life too hard to try to endure this, you know, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna dream this off. When I wake up, I deal with it when I wake up. Or when I wake up, you know, when I become sober, it's time to blaze up again. You know, it's just like, that's how a lot of people would rather live their life than to really deal with things. And honestly, that's borderline suicidal if you think about it, because you really don't have nothing to live for. You know,
it's a cycle.
Yeah, it's an endless cycle. Yeah. And then by the time that doesn't do what it used to do, now all of a sudden it's time to move up to something a little more potent. Dog. You know, again, it's a suicidal, you know, it's the steps toward a train wreck, really.
It really is.
And then it's like, now you was talking about now the beginning of the dream.
Yeah. So like we was like we were like hiding in this pine straw, right? In this wooded area. You know what I'm saying? And it was like covering. We was trying to hide under like tree bark and like fallen branches.
So what were y'all hiding from?
It was a attack. Cause it was like, I guess it was attacking a zombie apocalypse type thing. Okay. And it was it was an attack. So that's what I felt like it was like symbolizing, like hiding from. And I said, I recognized the people I was hiding with. So it's like I felt like it was saying like we all struggle with different things, but it's a commonality in all of them. You know what I'm saying? And it was a poor covering. You know what I'm saying? Pine straw, like little branches. It was like poorly covered. So it's like,
to be honest with you,
go ahead.
Excuse me, I mean to cut you off. But to really be honest with you, depending on the climate, that could be one of the best coverings. Pine straw, it can contain heat, so it's dependent.
True. But I figured I was thinking like the way we covered it was like symbolized like terrible ways of trying to hide that,
trying to deal with it.
Because you know, you meet certain people, you're like, man, they seem like they're going through a lot. They put on a good face, or we put on this mask, but at the end of the day, like, you could tell, like, man, they going through. You know what I'm saying? We walk past certain people and you're like, man, dog, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's how I felt. You know what I'm saying?
So in a sense, you were covered, but you were still exposed.
Exactly. Or you see certain people in the media or wherever the case may be, where they have this success or fame, but they have a terrible downfall, or they have a terrible like thing that happened. It's like, whoa, that person was like, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like that mask, that symbolic mask that we all put on.
Mm-hmm. So from that point, what happened there?
And then from there, we went to a fortress, or, you know, I use that word because it was like a protective area, and it was like poorly built. You know what I'm saying? And it was at the ocean, the edge of the ocean, which, go ahead.
The thing, okay, so I remember that part. So the thing that really like stood out to me, you were saying at nighttime. What happened at nighttime?
Oh, at nighttime, the zombies would it was like they go into a trance to where it's like a party, it's music, and they don't even notice we pretty much there. It's like it's a beach party.
So why you think that is?
I felt like at night or in the dark is when
you free.
We free.
You feel more free. You
exactly.
feel like you're not really seen. And to be honest with you, it's like for the zombies, probably, like, you think about it, that's really their atmosphere. That's
100%.
You know.
And I looked up zombies. If you don't mind, can you Google dream about zombies, or what does a dream about zombies mean? I can't remember verbatim. I don't have my phone with me.
All right. In dreams, zombies can represent negative attachments and bad habits that just don't die. In waking up, hold on, let me see. Yeah. In dreams, zombies can represent negative attachments and bad habits that just won't die.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why, you know what I'm saying? I felt like maybe they was on an attack, or I felt like they was attacking that area. Because it is like reoccur, or it may be a reoccurring habit, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And
so, that's interesting because you used the word. Because see, the first thing that I looked up when you said fortress, so I was like, man, I just want to see exactly what a fortress means. They say it's a military stronghold, especially a strong fortress town fit for large garrison. So the first part I paid attention to the most is a military stronghold. Interesting. Take away military, it's a stronghold. Then you came back and you were talking about the zombie thing. And even with that, hold on, let me see. Even with the zombies, it talks about negative attachments and bad habits. So it's still what? A stronghold.
100%.
So your dream was really the center of your dream, and the core of your dream, it revolved around strongholds, bad habits, and attachments, negative attachments.
Facts.
And it's like, man, that's wild.
It is though, man. And I think the reason I brought all that up is because I don't know, maybe somebody else is struggling with it. Maybe somebody else has struggled with it, like I've struggled with it. And
I've definitely struggled with like, man, pornography and ejaculation.
You know what I'm saying?
Being real, I put it out there, man. 100, keeping it a buck. That's like growing up. I've definitely struggled with it, and it's really because of the way that I was introduced to it. And for a lot of people, just being able to, oftentimes, man, growing up, man, you a man or you a punk. You know what I'm saying? They forcing you to pick. And man, I'm a man. Whatever. And it's just like, man, so right now, speaking as a man, I'm sitting here and I'll be the first to, I say it, man, like it's been at times in my life, man, it was something that, and we talked about this actually, man.
We did, offline.
Yeah, at times it was something that, it was an addiction for me, man. And again, it's because of how it was introduced to me as, man, the first introduction to pornography for me, man, was when I was in elementary school, in kindergarten, to be specific, And ever since then, it's like, I remember the image. It was like it was burned in my, it was burned in my head. And at first I saw it, man, I thought the woman was being killed. The sounds that I heard, and it's like, man, I was forced to watch it. And I remember as I continued to watch it, as a little boy, man, I remember just closing my eyes, man, and just, even if I close my eyes, I can still hear it. Mm-hmm. And again, what I thought was the woman, something bad was happening to the woman, but then it's like all of a sudden something began to happen to my body. My body started responding to, what I was hearing. And next thing I know, man, that was the first hard on that I ever had in my life. That was the most painful feeling I ever had, that I could remember, especially being so young. And it's like my body was defying what my thoughts were. My thoughts were, this is wrong, she's in pain, but my body was saying something else. And it's like, that's the first clear thought of confusion within self. Yeah. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's this I'm feeling? Well, I was feeling two different things, and it's just, definitely, man, it's just, you said a mouthful, man. It's just like, we do as people, not just man or woman or whatever title. We as people, we struggle with multiple things, and it's just like oftentimes it becomes very hard to talk about because
facts.
Everybody opinionated, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but it isn't the best thing all the time, and just because one doesn't agree with what the other is saying, we got to be able to hear one another out, and from that, just oftentimes we gotta listen, man. It starts with listening, and you can't help somebody if you're not even willing to listen. Like you said, with your wife, the beautiful thing about it is, she was listening.
Yeah, man. When I did tell her, she listened, bro.
Yeah.
And I think that was, like you said, our introduction to it is skewed already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why, it becomes a stronghold at times. And having somebody that you can talk to that's receptive and doesn't pervert your opinion or try to, make you feel bad for it, but accepts you, it allows you to accept yourself so that you can move forward and find other avenues to try to fix or rectify what's going on. That
Exactly.
makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
And to go back to what you said earlier, man,
what's
about,
up?
Oftentimes with help, man, help can arrive to a silent mouth.
Yeah.
And they say a closed mouth don't get fed. And to be honest with you, man, if your life is in jeopardy, and you've always been the type that you always wanted to, endure a problem on your own, I guarantee you that's the one time you're gonna want to speak up.
Facts.
When you need help, you need to open up your mouth and let the world know. If the world must know at that point, look, I need help.
Ain't nothing embarrassing about it, but for some reason we feel embarrassed about getting help.
Man, to be honest with you, which
is crazy.
The crazy part, it's not just about needing help. We feel embarrassed as, I don't know what it is about us being people a lot of time, but we just feel embarrassed about having to ask a question. A lot of times, man, you will sit up there and you totally oblivious to what's going on in the classroom, but you afraid to raise your hand because you don't want to be considered as the one dumb. So you don't want to ask. The dumbest question is the one you don't ask, because guess what? You still ain't learned nothing. Like
facts.
You sitting up there, hey, after class, and then the part that really makes it bad after the class. Hey, you know what they were talking about?
Oh, bro, and then your mans don't even know. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
exactly.
Yo,
man, I thought you knew. I thought I was the only.
You feel me?
Everybody. So that means, bro, as an instructor, he didn't even accomplish his task because half of the class don't even know what he was talking about. So it's just like, it's bad on both ways, but nobody ever know if nobody ever said anything.
100%, dog. And it just, you know what I'm saying, it just helped, you know what I'm saying? And by doing that, you know what I'm saying, I was able to move forward. And I just wanted to share that because it felt like, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is. And I was embarrassed about sharing that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I realized that not only me struggled with that. You know what I'm saying? Other people have too. They may just be afraid to talk about it, embarrassed to talk about it. But the only way you get, like me and Each said, the only way you get help, man, is if you do talk about it.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? Talk about it to the right person.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying?
That's true.
And
I'll say something on that. And that's not. We're not just talking about the men either, because women battle with the same thing as well. And the thing about it, you know, it is, even if we're talking about what we were just talking about is something totally different, you know, when help is okay, when you got to question it a lot of times, then you need help.
Yeah.
Should I talk to somebody? You need help. You really do. Like,
and you when it's stuff like that, you quickly talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
You find every right.
And then we turn around and we said, I'm tripping.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you find every reason why not to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of looking at every reason why to talk about it.
Yeah. Or why you should.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So today, you know, we want to, you know, I'm gonna leave one question, you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Something thought provoking to the masses. Challenge yourself going into this week or finishing out the day. Challenge yourself with the thought, why not?
Why not?
Why not? Give it a try.
You know what I'm saying?
And we talking about positive.
Yeah. Most
on
definitely.
A positive note. You gotta, yeah.
Nah,
but yeah, especially, you know, if you sit up there and if you got a question about something, or, you know, if God put it on your heart to take and do something for somebody, whatever it is, challenge yourself. Instead of saying, nah, or I'm tripping, why not?
Why not, man?
And let's see what we're not, you know, why not? Let's see where that gets us.
100%. We'll leave you guys with that, man. This has been a Real Talk Podcast. Appreciate you guys for tuning in another episode. Again, bro, we super happy about all the ratings going up. Continue to like, share, and tune in, man, next Thursday. Peace. Real Talk. We appreciate you giving us a listen. If you like this episode and would like to engage with us or support, reach out through our social media platforms, linked in the description, and tune in every Thursday to check out new episodes. See you next week.